Okay, here we are picking up with our new data, and I'll open up where we used to been here in a moment. And this is a rendered shot. And what we used to have was you see on this Fuselage data with all of these arcs, some of them got a little bit lumpy and goofy there. So what I had done was I smoothed them out and found my top skin line, and that was basically offset at 3/8 of an inch here. And we see on the close-ups with our data not closing up, so I had closed those up. And then I had converted first we have a control point spline which is without data. And then we have an interpolated spline with data. And instead of going through all of these data points and changing those appropriate ones to Z0, because where the goofiness came in, and it's still there, on this outside one, we see that it's coming up as a control point, but it's not at a perfect 0, because we have a 5/1000ths gap. I know I said it there at RC Groups it was 7/10, but I lied. You know, I'm an old geezer. I'm entitled to a couple of privileges. So anyway, we see here on this top one that is a line, and here it's data points, and here we have an interpolated spline that I have not converted to a line yet. So there would be just a little bit of a scooch of data there going on. And we're listening to a little bit of Braveheart here. And so I basically got rid of all of these lumps and things that were not going to play nicely. And then going on into a trimetric view, what I had done was after I converted that to a line, I scaled that line on each rib location and then ran the guide skin this away, which was grabbing all of these surfaces and then using the two outside lines as a guide, and then a 2-rail sweep grabbing our mirrored data out here. And at first I had a total closure here at the tip, or at the trailing edge rather, so I opened that up just a little bit, and then when I modified other datas from the 0 when I cut things up and trimmed them and all that kind of thing, I had a direction change, so I was getting all kinds of wild items as far as extrudes and things. So closing that out, let's open up where we're going to. And this is our new data now. And let's use our trimetric. And there's one other thing that we can do yet, which is running a cover surface and selecting our curves. I don't remember if I need to. Oh yeah, the line is there. Gaps detected, of course. So what I need to do then is explode. Okay. Edit, undo, curve, explode. That'll take too long for us to do that. So I will draw. I don't need to draw. I just need a point. I'm going to take that line and I'm going to set that up with a mirror using the XY plane. And Z0 and our XY. And there we have the line. And now we cover that surface with a line and a line. Let go of the trigger. There we have a covered surface. Now this is where the fun part comes in. Now we know that we have that 5/1000ths gap out here. So now I'm going to turn on our stitching tool. And now grabbing our stitching tool, we have options here. So we have maximum gap is 1/10. Closed volume required. Yes, we're going to make that a solid piece. And first, I'm going to show there we go. Alrighty. Selecting surfaces to stitch. And releasing my shift button. And now we should have us a solid. Yes, we have us a part. And let's make that transparent. And now we have our next cool tool. Because we're using a 1/16 of an inch offset, shell. Here's our shell tool. And what that does is it basically hollows out items. So if you had a solid boat and you want to put a so-and-so thick hull on that, this is the tool to do that. So let's find out what's going to happen. Selecting the solid to shell, and an open face, meaning where do we want that data. And we see how the highlights come up. And let the computer grind away a bit. Could not offset because of bad curvature. See error into shell. Okay, so then our next mode is to go undo object, which is our transparency. and undo our stitch solid. And from there we'll just simply offset faces. There we go. And we'll go minus 0.0625. Check my pen color. And we'll offset this guy. Okay. .0625. And the same way with come on there, guy, highlight. There it goes. And then I'll just simply slice up our yellow data for our ribs. And turning on the show only. There we have what would be the actual rib data. And we see we're still maintaining our integrity of good information there just because of the skins. So now the next item that's going to happen select all solids and hiding those. Selecting all surfaces. Hiding those. Now we come on in. And we grab this little radius. An arc of 508. Nope, that's not the one. The 500 radius. And then showing that fellow only. This should come up, yep, control point spline. We see no attributes as far as data points. Now I have a special view set up here. And this is, I'm going to select all. Showing all. That curvature is the line of the fuselage right at what we'll call the I know the crotch is kind of funny, but the intersect anyway of the bottom and the side surfaces and our tri-stock. Edit, undo, show all. And now I turn on a one rail sweep. Oh, except I want that in a surface because we'll split. And the curve to sweep will be a 1/2 inch. And our path will be right here. And then when we go to show all, taking a look at our front, Oh yes, here's our new and old data. We see the lumps on our horizontal of the old data, and we see how much more smooth this is. Coming on in, bumping our view just a little bit. When I get done slicing up that surface, I'll probably need that 508 radius so that I go outside the actual surfacing. And that's basically how the contour is going to be constructed. So it'll be somewhat easy to see the radius factor that's going to happen. It'll be following right along here and contouring all the way to the back end. And then also with converting our tri-stocks, let's go into an isometric view down here into the back end a bit. How are we going to construct all of the stuff that's going on here when we turn on the vertical stab and we see that data? We're going to be using the tri-stock. I'll convert that to solids, and then we'll use this surface to split that, and then we'll have the data of how that tri-stock is going to be shaped to receive the tail feather at the end. So that's pretty much the scenario. There's still lots of details, but we're moving along quite forward there. We're certainly not going backwards. There was one spot that I thought, where did my data go? And it ended up that my canopy was not turned on. And yes, you had mentioned about just making the canopy flat, but I figured, well, here's all of the lines outside. I'll define all of these lines and stuff like that. So this would have a triple function here, because that could be our servo rail plate and information going on there. And then one of these fellows is a group. This guy on the bottom is all of that extra data that is basically unnecessary. So we're ready to transport some of this into the laser file. I'll be modifying the horizontal stab for that laser file and sorting out the extra information that will be able to go into this space here, and that will be isometric or trimetric views to assist in the drawings. Torment y'all later. Thanks for viewing.